We're back. It's day 8 on RPG A Day here on the Miskatonic Playhouse. And our question today is the favorite character. Okay, Newman, who's taking this one? Or are we all going to introduce briefly our character? What would we want to do?
Well, I think you're going to take the lead on this one, Cosmic. But then I think if Stu and Lydia and myself, we might jump in with our own little favourite moments, if that's okay. Favourite characters.
Okay, well, what we'll do for this one, we'll just have a sort of like a sentence or two, and I'll bounce through these solo spots so everybody gets a turn. So I will jump into the solo spot and say to folks, my favourite character for RPG A Day was a little character that we had ages ago for Warhammer Fantasy role-playing game. She was Adriel Spydor, and if you know anything about Warhammer Fantasy role-playing, there's a thing called exploding dice. Adriel once kicked a soldier in the groin who was molesting her, and the dice exploded, and she kept rolling 6 upon 6 upon 6 upon 6, literally split this guy in two, caving because of these exploding dice. So that's my favorite character. Lydia, over to you.
Well, I think all I can say is good for you, Adriel Spydora. Definitely. I think that's living the dream, really. Do you know, I have so many favorite characters. It is so difficult to pick one, but pick one I must. So I'm going to go with Hasina from Children of Fear, because she was my first character on a podcast, and such an interesting, dark backstory and her development over the campaign. She started off as completely insane, but she did get a bit better as we went along. Again, I don't want to veer too much into spoilers, but she starts her introduction to the campaign believing that she's dead, and believing that she is a cannibalistic ghoul who has been doomed to eat human corpses for the rest of eternity because she was murdered by a man who wanted to marry her, and she turned him down and he killed her, and he didn't bury her, obviously. So that's why she believes in her madness that she is now what's called a Pisacha in the folklore of where she's from. Fascinating character.
But you, Stu.
So my favourite character is probably Senshel Cole, who was a dwarf advisor to a prince in a Burning Wheel game. The basic premise of the game was that an elven party of dignitaries had come to visit the dwarven prince, and being a dwarf, I wanted the shiny armor, expensive armor of the elves. So I went behind everybody's back, hiring gnome assassins, really breaking the game quite a bit, and eventually it all came back to me. They realized it was the thing. But Burning Wheel, you roll d6s, and if you, I'm remembering this here, if you roll a 6, you get to re-roll all the ones or something like that. I needed to get an extremely high level of success, and I just kept rolling those 6s. I kept getting there, and I was able to literally stand in front of this entire crew of player characters and NPCs who knew exactly what I'd done. I was like, no, it wasn't me. I didn't get the armor in the end, but it was an absolutely fantastic moment.
Newman, over to you. Favorite character.
So mine is a chap from Call of Cthulhu, one of my investigators. He was Detective Harry Gilbert, and it was a great opportunity to explore my home country's accent. He was a Brummie, and it was very kind of Peaky Blinder-esque. So he was talking about a bit like this, and he was always a bit like, he was a bit of a bruiser. And he always came across as a bit dumb, but he was actually quite intelligent, but he was very physical. So I think when the other investigators in our group saw that Detective Harry Gilbert was interrogating by force, it kind of changed the dynamics a bit with the group, but it became such a cool thing that we did. And I think he became a bit of the cuddly mascot for the investigators, but a bit of the terror for anybody that we encountered. So just great fun to play, really great fun to play.
Lots of good choices from folks. I always think it's very difficult. It's when somebody asks you, what's your favorite album or movie or something like that. I think that, it's whatever's memorable to you at that time.
It changes.
So difficult question. But that is day 8. Let us see what tomorrow brings.